morning, Stratford School. Mrs. Caravan here, out in my garden. So today, you're going to be getting some new pets, some pet worms. So you're wondering, why are worms such an exciting pet? Well, worms are very important to the earth. They eat the dead plant matter and turn it into new plant food for the plants that are growing. And while they're looking for food, they're also digging tunnels in the soil. And these tunnels allow air and water to pass through the soil more easily. And the plants love that. So worms are great for a garden. And I'm glad I have thousands of them in my garden here. So in this experiment, you're going to be making a worm jar. And you're going to be able to see the tunnels that these worms are making. So what you need for this experiment is one larger see-through container with a pretty large mouth. I have a peanut butter jar, or a vase would actually work pretty good for this experiment too. Then you're going to need a can, either a soda can or a soup can, something you can stick inside of that clear one and have enough space on the edge for worms to go around. What we're trying to do by putting this can in the middle is just giving enough space around the edge for the worms so that we can see their tunnels. So they'll be forced to be on the edge of the jar instead of in the middle. So if they're only on the edge of the jar, we'll be able to see their tunnels. So you need a can and a see-through container, some sand. Please don't use sand from the side of the road. There's salt in that sand, and that can hurt the worms. So see if you can find some sand somewhere else around your house. You'll need some dirt, which I'm in my garden. There's plenty of dirt here that these worms love. You're gonna need some worms. So find a shovel, dig up some worms, or look under some rocks. I got some worms here. I got about 6 worms. So you need some worms. And you're gonna need, if you have a lid on your container, that's good. Poke some holes in it so air can get in. If you have a vase, don't worry about it. Just don't fill your container all the way to the top. We just don't want the worms to get out. You're going to need a piece of dark paper that will wrap around your jar. The worms like dark. They don't like the light. So that's why worms are always hiding in the dirt. And sometimes if you go out at night on a wetter day, you'll be able to get a flashlight and you can see the worms crawling around. They're called night crawlers. So we want to block the light off from our container. So get some dark paper and you can wrap it around your jar when we're all done. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to layer some sand and then some dirt and then some sand and then some dirt. And we're going to do that all the way up to about an inch below the top of your jar or to the top of whatever can you have in there. Okay, don't go over the can that's in the middle. All right, so I'm going to pause this while I go ahead and put the sand and dirt in my jar. Okay, so I've got my jar almost filled to the top. You can see my layers of sand and dirt. And the one thing I forgot to tell you we need is some worm food. So the only thing you need, I got some chicken food. I said you can use some of your pet food if you have pets at home, or you can use some table scraps if you have like some carrot peels or apple chunks. You can throw that kind of stuff in here. I'm just going to take some of my chick food and sprinkle it in here for now. I already fed my chickens all the table scraps, so they've already eaten all my pieces of lettuce and stuff. So I'm going to sprinkle some food in here. And then I'm going to put a little bit more dirt on top of that. And then we're going to sprinkle the worms on top and a little bit more dirt. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle my worms on. I got about 6 worms here. Sprinkle them in. Okay, worms are in. A little bit more dirt on top, and then we put the lid on. If your dirt's a little dry, add a little bit of water too. We don't want to drown the worms, but we want the soil to be a little bit moist. So I've got my water bottle here and add a little bit of water. Just a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Okay, then we put the top on. And you're going to tape this around the edge. So tape your paper around it, keep it nice and dark for them, and check on them. Probably even by tomorrow morning, I bet you'll be able to see some worm tunnels. All right, so have fun with your new pet. Hello, Stratford School. Mrs. Caravan here with my pet worms. It's time to check on what they did last night while we were sleeping. So let's go ahead and take your paper off and take a look. So look closely at your own jar while I look at mine. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. There's a big tunnel going from the top of my jar where my food was all the way down to the bottom. You see that dark line? One of the reasons we put the sand in there was so that we could see where they're tunneling a little bit easier. So take a look at your jar, spin it around, look at all the sides. See if you can see the tunnels. See if you can see the worm too. It's hard for me to show with the camera here, but I looked really close and I could actually see a few of my worms inside their tunnels. So hopefully your worms were busy last night. Don't forget to feed them if you're going to keep them in your house for a while, okay? So keep an eye on how much food they have at the top of their jar. Looks like my one that did the big tunnel here was up there eating last night. All right, so have fun with your new pet.